Okay, I am very quickly going to run through the new uh, app, the unified app that will do both manual control and autopilot control of a robot. Six-pack menu down here in the lower left has changed a little bit. The connection button in the lower right is the first thing you need to tap to connect in to a robot. So you can either directly connect from the iPad to a robot just like you did before, or if you're running autopilot, you connect directly to an autopilot server and you connect that server to a robot. So the way that that works is you long press one of these buttons. I'll show you the simple way to do it first, which is connect to an individual robot one-to-one without the autopilot server involved. We now have auto detect. So you can see down here it said discovered robots Carlsbad. If I just press that, I am now, and select that as my target, I'm now directly connected to Carlsbad and have manual control. If I want to drive Carlsbad through autopilot, I'm going to long press that connection buttons again. And down here on Air Station 5, I'm going to long press and get this dialog box up again. Instead of direct connecting, I'm going to toggle over and connect to a server. So just like we can auto discover robots on the network, we can also auto discover autopilot servers. And you can see down here, it's detecting that Peppa is there. If I go to the Tailscale tab, there's other servers that it sees out on the Tailscale network, or manual. I can go in and manually enter an address. You can see I've already done that for Peppa here, but I'm going to show you the direct connect. We're going to go detected on the LAN server. I'm going to pick Peppa, and then I'm going to toggle to which robot I am going to connect to that. In this case, I'm connecting to Carlsbad. And so now those two devices are paired. When I select this Air Station 5 button, you see the UI down here is going to change a little bit, and I'm going to be connected to Peppa. No, I'm not. Try and close that up and reopen it and see if it behaves now. And now it behaves. So this is one of the things to know about the beta version of the app. If it starts misbehaving, literally just take it, close it up, and reopen it again, and it should reset those values. So you can see the green is selected, so I'm connected to Peppa via Carlsbad. I'm sorry, I'm connected to Carlsbad via Peppa. And the new button on the upper right of the six-pack menu here is our autopilot button. If I long press that, I get the autopilot settings box. We'll go through that in a second. For the most part, how you're going to use this is you're just going to turn autopilot on and then select your target. So what I'm going to do is double tap that upper right button for autopilot. So now autopilot is turned on, and my picture area here, now rather than being a drag for moving the robot in one direction or another, it's now a bounding box that's going to select a target. So I'm going to select me as the target. So right now it's tracking me, but you can see the robot's not moving. If I want the robot to engage in tracking me, I just press that button one more time, and you see a blue circle comes around it, and now the robot's going to start chasing me because the autopilot is telling it what to do. If I want to toggle that off and go back to manual control, I just double tap it, and now I have manual control again, where I can drive it just like I did before. Again, double tap turns autopilot on. I then can select what my target is. I single tap it to have it actually actively start going after. If I want to turn it off, double tap, and it's off, and I have manual control back. One of the things you'll see here down along the bottom in the six-pack menu, you see that little red gear. This is now a speed control for manual pan tilt control, the pan tilt control curve. So you'll see as I change it to medium or to slow, it changes color. Essentially, this is how fast the robot is going to react to my manual gesture here. If I'm shooting hockey or something really fast, I want to put it in fast mode, and it's going to go and fly around. If I'm doing something that's fairly slow tracking, I double tap it in the slow mode, and now it's going to respond much more slowly to my gestures. The middle color, which is kind of supposed to be gold, it looks kind of orange right now. That's the old speed curve. So if you want it to go a little faster, again, put it in the red mode and it's going to go fly around. If you want it to go slower, and again, it's double tapping that button will toggle it through those different settings. The other thing you have in here, all of your paint and shade is now in one menu. So your exposure is all here. You have your ISO, you have your iris, and you have your shutter angle all in that one menu. Here's your white balance, and here is your image profile. For most of those settings you'll be using all the time, you can also get at them quickly up here in the top line menu. So you can see right there, I'm at F9. If I just long press the F9, I can pick a new aperture for it. And from this selection menu, it will jump immediately to that value. Same thing goes for the shutter angle. Again, long press, and it gives me things to pick from. Same thing goes for ISO. I can pick a specific ISO value. As well as, if I come in here manual, I can pick what color temperature I want to be at, or I can be at auto. You see some of those values up top are blue. That means that it is in this particular case, auto white balance. Very quickly, just double tap that to turn it on and off. Same thing goes with auto ISO. I can very quickly toggle that on and off, or long press and pick from a list of values. So there's all of those shortcuts there. Let's get into the AutoPilot menu again here. So I'm going to double tap it to turn it on. I'm going to lasso what I want to track and tap it again to tell it to go chase that. So if I long press this button, you can see I get some other options in here. The subject fill is how wide or how tight I want it to track the subject. So if I wanted to track myself tighter, I would just crank up that tracking value and it could push in on me tighter. There are obviously limits to the lens. So the reason you didn't see it zooming right away is because I was basically already at that percentage, and it needed to get even a higher value for it to be able to push in on me. We can also give me a little lead room or a little bit of headroom. If I want to return those settings to 0, I just hit recenter framing. We are going to have some on-screen we're going to have some new controls on screen, so you won't have to get into this menu to do that later. But for now, it's in the menus. Pan, pan multiplier and tilt multiplier, easy for me to say. Those are how fast the robot's going to react to when the box moves. So if I want it to go faster when I move from side to side, you can see kind of in the background there that it's moving more quickly. And you just adjust that according to your whatever subject you're tracking. There will be in the next version of the app, there will be the ability to have profiles that you can very quickly switch between. So say I have to track both a slow moving object and a fast moving object, and I'm going between those. You can have a preset for the slow object and a preset for the fast object, where all of these settings can be stored and then recalled. Axis control is for if I want to say I don't want it to automatically zoom, I just want to keep the same focal length wherever the subject goes. I can toggle off, I'm sorry, wrong button. I can toggle off zoom, and it will now keep that same focal length. You'll notice in the lower left, the zoom slider button, the blue banding around the button goes on and off as that button is toggled. You can do the exact same thing, toggling on and off the zoom, by just double tapping this down here. And just like every other automatic function, it will auto toggle on and off the AutoPilot auto zoom when you hit that. Same thing goes for these for the axes, the pan and the tilt axis. So up top here on the upper right, where I have those values displayed, if I double tap that, now it is not going to do any panning with me or any tilting with me. Like now, it's essentially not going to move. Well, it's going to zoom because zoom is on, but that's a shortcut to toggle on and off those values. And again, you can turn them on, back on down here by just opening the menu. Again, I'm tracking something. It's following me around. I want to turn it off and go back to manual control. All I do is I double tap that 6-back button, and then the screen turns back to manual control. One thing to note, it is always going to be in the fast mode when it comes back to manual control. That's one of the things we're going to fix in a later software update, so it goes back to whatever you left it on before. But that's kind of the long and the short of the new integrated AutoPilot control app.